what does this now mean for the Eagles? Does this mean that they're committed to Jalen Hurts? Does this mean that they're open to drafting a quarterback? Because I saw in your latest mock draft that you have the Eagles trading up all the way to number 3 and taking Jalen Hurts. Do you honestly believe that's a possibility now?
No, absolutely. I mean, they'd be foolish to be 100% committed to Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts had not shown enough to be a franchise quarterback type that you 100% committed to. I mean, you took him in the second round. 32 teams passed on Jalen Hurts. You know, if he was this franchise piece based off of what he's shown last year in the games he did play, I haven't seen it. I think they have to be continuing to address the quarterback position. And I think free agency, there isn't a ton of options unless you're making a strong push for Dak Prescott, which I think would be unfortunate for Eagles fans, because even with Dak Prescott, I don't think this Eagles roster is good enough to win with him and his contract on the books. They either need to get aggressive and take a quarterback in 2021 to compete with Jalen Hurts, or hold it out, let him start 16 games. And when this thing doesn't work out, because 1/6 of your cap space is spent on a guy who's on the Indianapolis Colts, when the 2021 season doesn't work out, you better take a quarterback in 2022.
Yeah, I think I agree with most of that. I also want to keep kind of the talk about your latest mock draft and trades. You also, in your latest mock draft, had the Atlanta Falcons trading all the way up to 4 and taking, I think, one of the most controversial quarterbacks in my mind, at least so far covering this draft, in Trey Lance. I've had people on here say he's not even a first rounder. You have him going all the way up to 4. Wow. What is your opinion on Trey Lance?
So the Atlanta Falcons actually have the number 4 overall pick. They don't have to trade up. They're sitting there at 4. So the Atlanta Falcons,
It's been a long day. It's been a long day.
It's been a long draft season for sure. But so the Atlanta Falcons, I think if they do take a quarterback at 4, which I think they would be smart to because of the Matt Ryan situation, and they're a good football team. You know, they're a good coaching staff away from, I think, making the playoffs next year. Like I honestly do. And for that reason, the Atlanta Falcons with Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley, I think that defense is young and improving. I think I like a lot. AJ Terrell last year, I think, was a solid pick for them. They're not expecting to pick inside the top 10 next year. If they start Matt Ryan for 10 games next year, don't expect them to be starting or not 10 games, 16 games next year. Don't expect them to be picking inside the top 10. So take advantage of this opportunity by either taking a quarterback, the highest positional value in sports, or trading back. Like that, I think, is the only option for the Atlanta Falcons. And if you are going to take a quarterback, taking Trey Lance at 4, a guy that's not ready to play football in 2021 in the NFL. Trey Lance has only played one game over the past 12 plus months and still has a lot of concerns in his game, specifically from an accuracy perspective, for me to feel all that comfortable about him playing in 2021. It's very similar to the Jordan Love situation, but he's a better runner than Jordan Love, has better size and athleticism than Jordan Love, and surprising everyone, a bigger arm. Like the dude has an absolute cannon for an arm. So I do think that the Atlanta Falcons can feel confident taking Trey Lance, sitting him behind Matt Ryan for 2021. And then if Matt Ryan does hang up the cleats or they move on from him in 2022, they're in a prime position with an already developed quarterback in the NFL.
Okay, so my follow-up to that is, well, first of all, let me say I absolutely believe Matt Ryan is way overdue in his tenure of the Atlanta Falcons quarterback. But also, sitting here today, I know this is kind of a futuristic question, but can you sit here and tell me today that you believe Trey Lance could be a franchise quarterback?
100%. I think Trey Lance can develop into a franchise quarterback. I think he has the tools, the athleticism, all of that to be a guy. Here's the thing. The biggest knock on Trey Lance, or the two biggest knocks on Trey Lance, is that you haven't seen him do it a ton. Even in 2019, he only averaged 18.3 dropbacks per game. That's not a lot. He's going to double that in the NFL. He's going to throw way more in the NFL. Like they ran a run-first approach at North Dakota State. They're one of the few teams in college football that runs more than they throw the ball. And then you factor in the COVID-19 impacted season where he only played one game against Central Arkansas. You have not seen him play a lot of football, especially against top-tier competition. That's number one knock. Number two is he's not that accurate. He's not even close to what Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, or even what Justin Fields brings to the table. But in the NFL, though it's not as easy, you can win with an inaccurate quarterback. See Lamar Jackson. You can win with an inaccurate quarterback in the NFL if he is a legitimate difference maker as a runner. And Trey Lance is exactly that. He can have, in my opinion, Cam Newton-like impacts as a runner in Cam Newton's prime. And Cam Newton struggled with the same thing, even in his MVP season. Inaccurate. Very inaccurate. Cam Newton always struggled with accuracy, but Cam Newton had two things: an absolute cannon and athleticism and size to boot. So I think you can win with that type of quarterback if you build around him, keep him healthy.
I also think another prime example of that, of a player being able to develop who is has an absolute cannon of an arm and is athletic, is Josh Allen. We've seen Josh Allen absolutely develop into easily, I think, a top 5 quarterback in this league, at least if you're asking me. How's it going, guys? And thank you so much for reaching into this video. If you're interested in more content, be sure to go subscribe, turn on push notifications, all that good stuff. Also, I'll leave links to my Instagram and Twitter up here above. And also, be sure to go follow the podcast. That is where the bulk of my content comes from. I upload to all the major podcast providers, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all that good stuff. I upload to it all. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time.